If you're a faithful watcher of this program, you probably remember last year when I told egg whites it was not their turn. Get out of here, white. It's not your turn.
It's not your turn. It's not your turn.
Egg whites were, not so happy about it, and I made matters worse by never making it egg white's turn once last season. Well, I'm finally back to set the record straight. Egg whites, I hope we're cool. When you crack an egg onto a plate, which I guess no one really does, you'll see right off the bat that the egg white, also called the albumin, makes up about 2/3 of the overall volume of the egg. But look a little bit closer and you'll see that the egg white isn't all the same. There's a thick portion that is closer to the yolk, and surrounding that is a thin portion of white. The difference in texture is thanks to the protein ovomucin, one of the many proteins in egg whites, and it adds extra structure to the thick portion of the white. In a fresh egg, like this one here, the ratio is in favor of the thick by about 60-40. But that changes with age, with more and more of the white turning thin as time goes on. If your poached eggs fill up the pot with thin, feathery whites, you have the thin white to thank for that. And you can solve that problem entirely by first straining your eggs in a fine mesh strainer or a fine colander to let the thin white just slip away. Heck, you could do that for your fried eggs too, but you'd be missing out on one of the finest expressions of the thin white. Loads of crispy, lacy brown goodness. Actually, that puffing, browning, and crisping tells us a ton about the makeup of an egg white, specifically about water, protein, and pH. An egg white is about 90% water. When that water turns to steam in a hot skillet, it expands and it wants to escape. The white's ability to trap that steam, puff, and turn into a rigid structure is all thanks to protein, which makes up about 10% of an egg white. And all that rapid browning, well, that's fueled by the egg white's alkalinity. Egg whites are so basic. No, I don't mean it like that. I don't mean it like that. Egg whites, come back. My point is that browning reactions, like the Maillard reactions taking place in the egg white, happen much faster at higher pH. The white of a fresh egg is slightly alkaline, but climbs the pH scale significantly with age. Older eggs can have whites in the 9s. But don't worry, egg whites, you're always gonna be a 10 in my book. One brilliant use for egg whites is cocktails. Shaking a whiskey sour with an egg white delivers a creamy, luscious foam on top of your drink. While you can absolutely crack fresh eggs when it comes time to making your drinks, I love to save leftover whites from other cooking projects, freeze them in ice cube trays, and keep them stashed in the freezer. Just add 1 frozen egg white cube to the shaker with the rest of your ingredients. That would be whiskey, lemon juice, sugar, and a little bit of salt, and then shake until the cube is melted and the drink is nice and foamy. Then you just add your ice and shake to chill and further foam. That looks good. Now, before I dig into that drink, I should probably back up and talk about one of the finest and most useful expressions of egg whites. You know what I'm talking about. Meringue. There are some transformations in the kitchen that just feel like magic. Meringue is one of them. Wait a minute. This sounds awfully familiar. There are some transformations in the kitchen that just feel like magic. Meringue is one of them. Oof, all right, so I guess I've been here before. Well, actually, this is great. Let's just have 2012 Dan explain it. A meringue is all about capturing air and putting it to use. When egg whites are whipped, the egg proteins unfold and then cross-link to form a network that stabilizes these air bubbles. At the same time, the sugar dissolves in the water from the eggs to form a viscous liquid. Now, this liquid is less likely to drain away and collapse the structure. Oh, you're done. Oh, okay, yeah, I mean, that was pretty good. Come on, it's 2021, it's the future. We can do better than this. There's so much cool technology we have access to. We can get way deeper and explain this in such a better way. Wait, I've got an idea. Okay, so let's pretend that Miamo the cat here is a protein swimming in this egg white, also known as a bed. We now know that this egg white is mostly water, but it would have a lot more Miamos floating in it, which would be awesome. She's a wonderful cat. In a fresh, unbeaten egg white, she would be coiled up into a ball like this. Very cozy. But I want to make a foam, so I start agitating the egg white and the Miamo protein starts to unfold. Eventually, she looks like this. Now, all of that beating has also introduced some air bubbles. We'll let this basketball represent one of them. Our straightened out protein finds herself aligned against the air bubble. This part of the protein, the tail, is attracted to the water, while this part of the protein, the belly, is happily sitting against the air bubble. So lots more Miamos. I only have this one. Let me see, I guess the stuffed otter will do. So lots more Miamos would come together on the surface of the air bubble and bond together like this. The air bubbles are separated from the water and we have a foam. Now, if we cook that foam, other proteins in the egg whites set and preserve that structure. Now, how all of that whipping and stability goes down has a lot to do with other ingredients in the mix. So let's take a look at one that can hurt and one that can help. Fats interfere with the creation of the protein network. Interestingly, and unfortunately, yolk can interfere more than a pure fat like oil. So it's particularly important to make sure that none of the yolk gets into the whites that you're going to whip. Man, I'm really getting back at yolks this time, huh? Your best bet for keeping the yolk intact during separating is to work with fresh eggs that are straight from the fridge. In a fresh egg, the yolk membrane is stronger, and a cold yolk is less likely to rupture. And I should note that while fat is a big problem when you're trying to build that egg white foam, it's not that big of a deal after you've built it. That's why we can fold fatty ingredients into an egg white foam with pretty high success. Think chocolate mousse or cheese souffle. Acids can help, often in the form of cream of tartar, but not always, as we'll see in a minute. A small amount of acid can help stabilize an egg white foam. You won't get a fluffier or more voluminous foam, but you will get one that stays a foam longer, and that is a good thing. I think it's time to head into the kitchen and make one of the finest whipped egg white dishes, pavlova. I'm gonna whip up this incredible recipe by Cooks Illustrated senior editor Annie Petito. Annie's recipe starts with what is commonly referred to as a Swiss meringue, where egg whites and sugar are combined from the start and heated in a double boiler before whipping. In the cooking step, where we take the egg whites up to 160 degrees, we create a more fine textured and stable foam than if we just did a French meringue, where we combine raw egg whites and sugar. That's because the proteins weave together into a tighter mesh. In place of cream of tartar, we're using white vinegar, which is traditional in pavlova, and a little bit of cornstarch, which traps moisture and keeps the interior of the pavlova perfectly tender chewy. After we do all of our whipping, just look at this beautiful silky meringue. Now we just spread it into a 10-inch round on a prepared parchment-lined baking sheet and bake it until the exterior is crisp and dry. Then we turn off the oven, prop open the door, and let it further dry without any risk of it over browning. During baking, that interior mesh holds tight while water evaporates out at the surface. We end up with an incredible texture. The outside of the pavlova is perfectly crisp while the inside is moist and chewy. All that's left to do is top with whipped cream, another foam, and a gorgeous mound of fruit. Man, just look at that beauty. Well, there's really only one thing left to do. This is how to eat. Wait a minute, where's my drink? Okay, that's better. This is how to eat. Whoa, 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 where's mi amo? All right, this finally feels right. This is how to eat egg whites. Welcome to season 4. If you like that video, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. We have an awesome season ahead, and I have a lot of links below this video that you have to check out. First off, we've got the pavlova recipe, which is absolutely delicious, and it goes really nicely with the whiskey sour recipe. I also have a link to that below. If you like videos that combine cooking and pets, which you obviously do, and you don't subscribe to Cooking with Dog, what are you doing? You're missing out. So you gotta check them out as well. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back soon with another episode. See you then.